Hi everyone, and welcome to another tutorial. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make this Kyden bracelet, and this was designed by me. I posted on Instagram a little while ago and a lot of you guys seem to like it, so I'm making a tutorial for it today. I'll have my Instagram name in the description box below in case you don't know that I have an Instagram, but because most of you do, I'll just have it down there. Otherwise, we'll go ahead and jump right into this. So what you're going to want today is a hook. I'm going to use my double-ended crochet hook here. You're also going to want a C-clip to secure your bracelet and some bands for the middle. So for the galaxy green-blue bands that I used in this middle row, I'll be using fuchsia bands. Then for the pink that I used here, I'll be using neon pink. And for the silicone baby pink bands I used for the outside, I'll be using white. And there's a bunch of different color combinations you can do with this bracelet. I'm just going to be showing you this simpler one today just so I don't confuse you. But yeah, once you experiment around with it, you can choose whatever colors you like, but we'll go ahead and get started. So the first thing you're going to want to do is make a 10 loop setup with your white bands. So that should be pretty simple. You're going to cap a band, pull another band through, lift one end of the cap band, and pull 3 bands onto each side, or fishtail 3 bands onto each side. Now turn your bracelet around once you're done the first side. Okay, so once you have 10 loops on your hook in your white bands, you'll go ahead and take one of your center colors, which I'm using fuchsia for again. So you're going to pull this through the first 7 loops, and then you're going to lift everything back up onto your hook. Rearrange these outer 3 white bands, and also be careful with this fuchsia band that you don't pull it out because it's really not secure just yet because we lifted all the bands, so just make sure that you don't pull on this band. But what we're going to do now is add on 2 of our pink bands. So take your pink band, pull this through the first 6 loops. That's the first half of your bands. And then you're going to lift the outer 4. Rearrange these outer 2, like so. So you're just basically dropping off these 2 white bands onto this neon pink. You'll take your second one, which you can change colors for if you want to do kind of a gradient to the outside, but I'm just going to stick with this. So take your second neon pink through the first 5 loops, this time lifting the outer 3 and rearranging that outer 2 again. So you're going to drop off these next 2 bands, which are 1 white and a fuchsia band. Next, you're going to take 2 white bands. Your first white band is going to go through the first 4 loops, lifting the second and the 4th loop. And then your next white band will go through the first 3, lifting the outer 1. So you should have something like this now. You're going to turn this around and repeat the same thing on the other side. So make sure that these 2 bands do stay inside of your fuchsia. If they do pop out, just make sure to rearrange them. You're going to take a neon pink through the first 6 loops, reclaim the outer 4, and rearrange the outer 2. Then take your second neon pink band, pull this through the first 5 loops, reclaim the outer 3, and rearrange the outer 2. So you should have something like this on your hook. Now you're going to take 2 white bands, pull this through the first 4 loops, lift the second and the 4th. They should both kind of be sticking up. Then you're going to take another white band through the first 3 loops, lifting just the outer 1. So now you should have something like this on your hook. You're going to have 12 loops on your hook. You're going to take a fuchsia band, pull this through the first 9 loops, and then you're going to lift these middle 4, so those are going to be all 4 of those neon pink loops. You're going to skip this next white band and lift the outer 3 whites. Rearrange those outer 3 bands, and you should have something like this. Next, you'll take a neon pink band, pull this through the first 6 loops, and treating these neon pink bands just like you were treating these white bands down here, it's going to be the same thing. So pull a band through the first 6, and just simply lift the outer 4. Rearrange these outer 2 white bands and make sure that these do stay in order. Then take your second neon pink band through the first 5 loops, lifting the outer 3 and rearranging the outer 2. So now you should have something like this. You're going to take 2 white bands. Your first one will go through the first 4 loops, lifting the second and the 4th loops, which should again kind of be sticking up. Then take your white band, take your second white band through the first 3 and just lift the outer 1. So then turn this around. We're going to repeat the same thing on the other side. It should be pretty simple. The only thing different is that these 2 neon pink bands in the middle were previously white. So I guess that can get a little confusing, but it shouldn't be too bad. Going to take a neon pink through the first 6, lift the outer 4, and rearrange the outer 2. Then take another neon pink through the first 5, lift the outer 3, and rearrange the outer 2. So this is what you should have now. Take 2 white bands. Your first one will go through the first 4 loops, lift the second and the 4th loop, and your second white band will go through the first 3, just lifting that outer loop. Again, you'll have 12 loops on your hook at this point. So take a fuchsia band and pull it through the first 9 loops. You're going to lift the middle 4, which are those pink bands. You're going to skip this next white band and lift the outer 3 whites. So basically, to get it back to that setup that we had in the beginning when we pulled our fuchsia band through, you're just dropping off one of these white bands in the middle. So now you'll take your neon pink band through the first 6 loops, lift the outer 4, if I can get my hook in there. This is not working. Lift the outer 4, there we go, and rearrange the outer 2. Then pull another neon pink band through the first 5, lift the outer 3, rearrange the outer 2. My band's kind of twisted, so I'm trying to untwist it here. It's not going to work. Okay. Well, I'm just going to leave that. Anyway, you're going to take a white band, pull it through the first 4 loops, lift the second and the 4th loop, then take your second white band through the first 3 and lift the outer 1. You're going to do the same thing on the other side. Take a neon pink band through the first 6 loops, lift the outer 4, rearrange the outer 2. And if your white band kind of folds over the fuchsia, just rearrange it. It doesn't really matter because you can always like pull it and separate it and that kind of thing, but I just like to have it nice and neat when it's on my hook. Anyway, you're going to take the next neon pink band through the first 5 loops, lift the outer 3, and rearrange the outer 2. Then take 2 white bands, Your first white band goes through the first 4 loops, lift the second and the 4th loop. Then your second white band will go through the first 3, lift the outer 1. So at this point you would pull a fuchsia through. Again, remember to drop off these 2 white bands here, lift the middle 4, and lift each of these outer 3 bands. But I'm going to show you how to close it off here, so it's a pretty simple process here. You're going to take your white band, pull it through everything except the last band on your hook, like this. Then you're going to lift this second loop, which is kind of sticking up, and you're going to go to the third to last band and pick that up, and then pick up that very last band. So these 2 loops should be part of the same band, and these 2 loops should be part of the same band. and then obviously these two middle loops should be as well. So then you're going to take one last band, oops, I messed that one up. I accidentally dropped my band, so hopefully you don't do that. Try that again. Take this white band, pull it through the last 6 loops, with all 6 loops, and close. I find this the easiest and neatest way to close it off, but if you find something else that you like better, feel free. But I'm going to stop that there. So anyway, thank you for watching. If you liked this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe. I'll have my Instagram name in the description box below if you want to check that out. Otherwise, that is going to do it for this video, and I hope to see you next time.